The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Hey everyone, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. We are here to talk about the 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards. I am being joined, as always, by good old JM Jeff Meacham, as I am every single year. And this year, we are also being joined by the PA sensation Greg Cherry to provide some additional insight into what you guys should be voting for this year. So, Jeff, how are you doing today? You look very dapper, my friend.
I gotta look dapper. You can't really see it's a purple shirt because it's still dark as sin in this room. I got a dark background. I am Zordon today, and that's okay for those of you that watched Power Rangers back in the day. I figured, Aaron, it's always you and me every year, but with Greg having an unbelievable 2017 in his own right, dethroning me for the Trivia Championship, let's bring him into this. Let's have his views on 2017 and what's going to be a WWE heavy category list, but we'll still bring him in and have him talk about the world of wrestling in 2017. Greg, welcome, and God help you here.
Well, I might need all the help I can get, but that's another story. 2017 was an interesting year. I wouldn't say it was good or bad necessarily. It had its moments, but I mean, there's definitely a lot to talk about as far as what went on in this crazy year that we call 2017.
Yes.
Absolutely. And also, this is the 18th year of the NoDQ.com Year-End Awards. It just gets bigger and bigger. And as we approach NoDQ.com's 20-year anniversary, we got to make this bigger. We got to have more debate, more discussion. That's what the audience wants. So we're giving it to them. We're going to give the viewers our thoughts on the categories and the nominees. So let's kick it off with the Male Superstar of the Year. We have 6 choices this year, as we do every year. Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, and Okada. So we have 2 New Japan superstars in the running this year, which is something different for NoDQ.com, but both of those guys had a tremendous 2017. So Jeff, let's start with you. Your pick. I mean, this is a very loaded lineup here. Who's the 2017 Superstar of the Year?
And let me say for the record, we're not saying Okada's first name strictly because we don't want to say it wrong and sound offensive to everybody that actually likes Okada and Kenny Omega's matches, because I don't want to cause any trouble. Now,
yeah,
it's funny you mentioned the New Japan guys are on this in the category list, because New Japan has had arguably their most mainstream year ever. They have crossed over to North America. They had an event right here in Southern California, actually, earlier this year. They are the topic of much debate and discussion throughout the wrestling world. And I actually have Kenny Omega as one of my top 3 of this category, because whether he beat Okada or not throughout the course of this year, the fact of the matter is Kenny Omega has been one of the buzzwords in wrestling this year. He's been the talk of the town, so to speak. But as we all know, in this group and any other group on this channel, WWE is where it's at. And, the WWE fans are going to have their voice in this voting. And it comes down to 2 guys from WWE, Braun Strowman and AJ Styles. AJ had the year that he needed to have last year in WWE. He won the U.S. Championship a couple times, I believe. He was WWE Champion as the year started and as the year ends here approaching. So, he had the year of years for AJ Styles to have toward the end of his run, and especially his WWE run here as he approaches retirement, according to some reports I'm hearing. Braun Strowman, on the other hand, if you have the breakout star, which we're going to talk about later, he should win that. Braun Strowman is one of those guys where you never see something like that coming until he's right in your face. And he's a pretty big dude to go unnoticed. But he's noticed, and he had a tremendous year. I'm going to personally say my pick for Male Superstar of the Year this year is AJ Styles, strictly because of the star power behind his name and the fact that he had a banner year, considering he shouldn't even have a banner year at this stage of his career. Greg, what do you think?
See, this one's a little bit more of a toss-up for me. Like, I think I submit AJ as one of my picks. But, you look at Braun Strowman and the year he had a fantastic year. Roman Reigns confuses me a little bit in this category, not just because, everybody towards Roman Reigns, the IWC and whatnot. I'm just thinking it's like Reigns didn't really have that great of a year. He beat Taker at WrestleMania. He beat Cena, and then he won the Intercontinental Championship. Other than that, he hasn't done anything.
Well, you know what?
If you really think about it, I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot to deserve that honor. Now, I'd actually probably put Okada over him because he's been, what, the longest reigning heavyweight champion in New Japan history or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think he beat the record. Omega, like you said, Jeff, is like one of the biggest talks of the wrestling world. AJ's had a, no pun intended, phenomenal year. Braun Strowman as well. And who was the other one?
Wait a minute. Let me go back here. We had Reigns, Strowman, Omega,
Lesnar.
Styles, Lesnar, Brock Lesnar.
See, the only reason I would put Lesnar up there, honestly, would be the AJ match that he just had at Survivor Series, because that match was incredible. I mean, we knew who was going to win, but just the drama of the match was fantastic. And other than that, Lesnar's matches with Joe and Strowman singles matches, I didn't really care for. And yeah, he's been Universal Champion forever, but you know, he's defended the belt what, 4 times, if that.
And Brock's biggest feud was dependent on a guy 12 years out of the game, and he had to pull a 5 minutes out of Goldberg, which was no small feat, but he did do it.
But you know what? That match beat the living hell out of the WrestleMania 20 match.
This is very true, which is, again, not saying much, but...
Yeah, it doesn't take that much. But
no.
If I had to make my pick right now, I think I would also have to go with AJ Styles.
Well, there you go. And I have to agree with both of you with that. I would go with AJ Styles as my official pick. Now, Greg, I do think you're downplaying the significance of beating Undertaker and John Cena in 1 year. Not many people can say they've done that. That is quite the feat. So don't act like that's like not that big of a deal. I think that's major to beat Undertaker and John Cena in major matches. Jeff?
I can think of one guy that did that in a 12-month span besides Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Lesnar.
There you go. But who cares about Brock Lesnar?
I'm saying between No Mercy 02 and Backlash 03, Lesnar beat both. So,
yeah,
you know.
But back then, you know, Cena was just a rookie, you know.
Cena was coming into his own, though. He was starting to be the doctor of economics we all grew to love for a cup of coffee. So.
Yeah, but this was like a passing of the torch, you know. In both matches, it was Undertaker and Cena passing the torch to Roman Reigns. But I'm not picking Reigns, you know. I'm going to be the anti-Reigns. You know, if Virtue is here, Virtue might pick him. I'm not sure what Virtue voted for.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, because Virtue, as much as he enjoys Roman Reigns' quality of stuff, he might, you know, be swayed toward somebody else, like maybe AJ or maybe one of the Japanese contingent guys. So you never know.
Yeah, and Enzo Amore. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if Virtue.
Come on, you know.
We'll have to see what Virtue said. I mean, he did not give us his picks for this video, but Kenny Omega is another guy who I think could be a serious contender, because he had a tremendous 2017, the matches with Okada and doing all the stuff in Ring of Honor, being part of the Bullet Club. I mean, this was really a big year, and you could argue Kenny Omega is the biggest star in the world that is not affiliated with WWE. So it's really been a major year for him. But I'll still go with AJ Styles. I think AJ will be my pick. But Strowman or Omega would be right up there with AJ as far as my pick goes.
Those are my 3 top choices. So,
all right.
Now I want to briefly bring up a possible omission from this list that I'm kind of surprised isn't up there and nominated. Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes. Well, Cody did not get that many nominations from what I saw. We had several hundred people send in nominations, and I barely saw anything for Cody Rhodes. So I don't know. I mean, I think Cody had a pretty good year. Pretty good. But I'm not sure if he had like superstar of the year type of year. I mean, Jeff, what do you think?
Cody's had one of those years where if you don't religiously follow the independent scene or Ring of Honor, you haven't really seen much of Cody Rhodes, because, you know, Cody Rhodes has been more of one of those guys like the Bucks were at a certain point before the last year or so. Cody's been the social media favorite. He's been the guy that, you know, has been on social media and been on Twitter and things like, you know, kind of building his campaign outside WWE from the ground up. Cody, I think, if he continues on this path, he'll be the 2018 NoDQ Superstar of the Year.
Let's not go crazy here. Jeff, do you think there's anybody that should have been on this list that isn't?
That should be isn't? I look at the nominations you sent me, and I honestly think that those are the 6 guys that belong up there. Even Roman, because Roman didn't have the best year he's ever had, but he still, like you said, he beat John Cena and Undertaker in the same year. So, that's no small feat by anybody, including Roman Reigns, the big dog. He still did that. So.
Yeah. I think AJ Styles, because AJ Styles had the match with Cena at the Royal Rumble, 70,000 people. He went in as WWE champion. He did lose the title, but still facing John Cena for the title in front of, well, not 70,000, more like 54,000 people.
But the fact is, he went in as champion and walked out with the respect of John Cena and the respect of the crowd for having a good match with John Cena in 2017. Then he went to Mania, where it shouldn't have been the greatest match of the night, and arguably him and Shane was one of the best matches of that night.
Actually, I think most people consider that to be the match of the night, which again,
there you go,
tells you all you need to know about AJ.
Yeah, AJ's in that. The category we always give Ric Flair is match with a broom. He can do it with anybody.
And Lesnar had one of Lesnar's best matches in years.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar should not be having that quality of match 2017, and he did because it was AJ Styles. That's why he's my overall pick.
All right, so we're going with AJ, but ultimately the decision is up to you guys.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
And now for the final category of the 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards. Most underutilized Superstar of the Year. The guy that has won it, I think twice already, Cesaro, Neville, Finn Balor, Rusev. It's Rusev Day, everybody, by the way.
It's Rusev Day.
Luke Harper, and you know what that means. Or should I just say Harper? He's no longer Luke Harper. He's just Harper.
Harper and Rowan, that's it.
And Sami Zayn. Greg, why don't we start with you for this last category? Your thoughts, most underutilized Superstar of the Year. Is it Cesaro again, or is it somebody else?
Well, I think Cesaro's been the only person to win this category. And I don't think Cesaro should win it this year. I mean, he's been tag team champion. He's had 3 reigns with Sheamus. They've been in the main event of several shows. I can't give it to Cesaro this year. I honestly have to give it to Balor. Just because they could do so much more with him, and then they put him in a feud with Bray Wyatt that went nowhere. And we watched his match with AJ at TLC, which was fantastic. Finn Balor can go in the ring. Again, making Virtue mad at me. Finn Balor can go in the ring, and it doesn't matter if he is, Balor Club Balor or Demon Balor. He can go in the ring. You just need to give him the right storyline and the right opponent, and he'll be good to go. I got to give it to Balor because they haven't done anything with him since he's returned.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Greg, 100%. I'm also going with Finn Balor, Mr. Not Over Finn Balor, because he was supposed to get that Universal title rematch, and WWE never gave it to him, and it's frustrating. And I think that he has an entertaining character when he's the Demon. Maybe he's not the most charismatic guy as the Fonz Finn Balor, but still, the guy's a really good wrestler, and I think he connects with the audience despite not being the best guy at promos and not necessarily the most charismatic guy, but he is very entertaining to watch in the ring. And I definitely agree with you. He should be competing for the U.S. title, at least, not the U.S. title, the Universal title. He should at least be getting his shot. So, Jeff, what do you think?
For the record, Cesaro's won 3 times. The only winner. Greg's right. 3-time winner of this award. He will not win this year because he's been utilized very, very well all year long. Raw Tag Team Champion, an amazing feud and partnership with Sheamus. He's been on point all year. I got to agree with you guys. Balor's got to be the one. He's been the guy who, when he came back from injury, should have immediately been in the ring with Lesnar for the Universal Championship, and they didn't do it. And it's a crying shame that a guy like Finn Balor, who has been one of the best talents in wrestling or sports entertainment in recent memory, right up there with AJ Styles, one of the 2 best right now in the game, is not able to be showcased the way he should be. He is way underutilized. If he wins again next year, we got a real problem.
Yeah, if Cesaro wins this year, we might as well just call it the Cesaro Award at this point.
Exactly.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for our thoughts on the 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards. Head over to NoDQ.com and cast your votes. Every vote counts. Tell your friends. Spread the word. You have the rest of December to vote. So do it, NoDQ.com. Jeff, your plugs.
Twitter _ Jeff Meacham, Instagram, same thing. Get on Pro Wrestling Tees and buy those shirts. No DQ and AV is the link on Pro Wrestling Tees. If you buy a Talk Wrestling shirt, a Meachamania, God damn, did it again, Meacham Mayhem, or a Wrestling Trivia Challenge shirt, you will get a personal shout out on Talk Wrestling from yours truly.
There you go. Greg, your plugs.
Follow me on Twitter at PA Sensation. And you can also go to Pro Wrestling Tees and buy the Pen Sen, the license plate shirt. Check that out. And if you buy one of those, I will love you forever.
There you go. Not quite as
if
good
you
as a
buy
shout
one,
out.
Good job on Talk Wrestling. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Jeff's really upping the ante on that. All right.
I want everybody's shirt to do well because that just means the channel is doing well. So
exactly, and pick up those Wrestling Trivia Challenge shirts, the No DQ panel, all that good stuff. You know, use your Christmas money. You got your Christmas money. I'm sure you got it from your grandmother, unless you got clothes. But if you did get money, go to ProWrestlingTees.com and pick up a NoDQ.com T-shirt or PA Sensation shirt, the Pen Sen license plate, or the Talk Wrestling shirt, or the Meacham Mayhem shirt.
Or any of them.
I got it
any
right
of
that
them.
time.
Maybe. Just any of them. Get them all.
Yes, get them all. All 15 shirts.
There's only 15. You can afford that. Come on.
Yeah.
You can afford 15 shirts. Get them for your friends. Get them for your family. Get them for your family reunions, your get-togethers, your 10-year high school reunions. Get them for everybody.
Get them for your dog. Have your dog wear the shirt
get
around the house.
dog. Why not?
We should
if
do
you're
that.
into dressing the dog.
We should have dog clothes, Aaron.
Yes. Cat clothes, too.
Cat clothes? Well, I don't know about cat. Cats don't do well with that.
Yeah, but it's funny.
It's very funny.
It might be animal abuse, but it's funny. Anyways, on that note, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everyone out there, for supporting NoDQ.com and watching these videos. And there's a cat. So we just got some more thumbs up, thankfully, because we were kind of falling off the train here at the end. Yes, the waving the cat to sign us off here.
Which is the funny part.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy 2018. And we will see you guys next time.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
And now we're down to the last two categories. Most overutilized superstar of the year. The 6 nominees: Roman Reigns, Enzo Amore, Shane McMahon, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and my all favorite one here, Jinder Mahal. Good old Jinder Mahal. So, Jeff, we'll start with you on this one. Most overutilized. Your opinion on this one?
I'm going to go against the NoDQ corporate vote because I don't think he was overutilized in that the way they used him while he was champion was effective in getting the people over, except for Nakamura, they wanted over. I think the most overutilized guy, honestly, has been Shane McMahon.
That's a good point.
For Shane McMahon to be in major storylines in 2017. Period. I know. Shane has that ability to get people over like he always has. But as the authority figure, he's not supposed to be in matches. He's not supposed to be the special referee. That's what happened with Triple H in 2013. He made a special referee in the match with Bryan and Cena at SummerSlam, and that birthed the authority right there. Bad. No. I think Shane McMahon needs to be the commissioner and step back. I think he was way overused this year.
I disagree. Okay. And I'm going to disagree with your example, too, of Triple H, because look at the storyline that led to a WrestleMania 30, which turned out to be one of the best WrestleManias in recent memory. Triple H losing to Daniel Bryan, and then Daniel Bryan overcoming Batista and Randy Orton. But
I realized that it ended up being good at Mania, but think how long the Authority was in power. Think how much we were pining for them to go away. So,
yeah, I'm not gonna say Shane was overutilized. Looking at the choices, I hate to do this. I hate to be this guy, and Virtue's just gotta not talk to me after this. I have to pick Roman Reigns. just because.
Oh, Enzo, okay.
No, I wasn't gonna pick Enzo because Enzo is actually like made people. Enzo's become a good heel. He should actually be up there for heel of the year because people want to see him get his ass kicked.
True.
But I have to go with Reigns just because he's been used in positions that he doesn't need to be in. Like, he's the Intercontinental Champion now, and I'm like, they could have given it to somebody else. What's Reigns going to do with it? Exactly what he did with the United States Championship, which is a big pile of nothing.
Yep.
So I got to go with Reigns. And it pains me to say that because I didn't want to be that guy, but
it's very hard being that guy because, for me, we were doing this a few years ago there, and it's like everybody was so hating on John Cena, and I was the one, rallying the cry of, the C Nation. But when it came to the end of the year, it's like they used him a lot, and it's not good. So it's one of those things.
All right, well, Jeff, as far as Shane McMahon goes, I think he was utilized fairly well, except for Survivor Series. I think that's when it really got overkill, using him and making the whole storyline about him. I think that was when it was really becoming too much. If it just had ended with Hell in a Cell for the year, I think that would have been fine. But then bringing him back and putting him in Survivor Series, not a big fan of that.
Well, but think about it. How many times was he directly or even slightly indirectly, but still pretty much involved in a major storyline of a SmackDown match at a pay-per-view?
Yeah, exactly. Brock Lesnar, I think, has been utilized a good amount. He's the part-timer. If anything, they should be using him more, but they haven't. Yeah. Randy Orton, you could argue Randy Orton because they've been putting him in storylines that just haven't been connecting with the audience, and it feels like the whole thing with Bray Wyatt took him down a few pegs. Enzo Amore, I think they've been doing a good job with him. Reigns, I think, he's their guy, so, maybe they need to scale it back with him, but it is what it is. I got to go, it's predictable. I got to go with Jinder Mahal just because he was a guy that all of a sudden they pushed to the main event after all those months of him being enhancement talent, and he just wasn't working as champion. All those matches, he would win with outside interference. He had no credibility as champion, and he just wasn't delivering. When he's in the main event, you have high expectations, and he wasn't delivering. The matches just were not up to par when Jinder Mahal was in there, with all due respect to him. And it's the character, it's the wrestling, it's just everything. Jinder Mahal just wasn't connecting, and it was WWE's experiment, and I don't think it worked the way they wanted it to work. So I got to go with Jinder Mahal.
Since this is the last category that he's going to be mentioned this year, I have to say he's the easiest target we ever had on these year-end award shows. Because think about it. We mentioned Fastlane earlier in one of the earlier categories. He lost decisively to Cesaro at that show, and that was still this year.
Yeah.
Within a few, he was the world champion. It's like, what?
And remember, he was in the kickoff, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the Dre. He was in that match too, and he was
the runner-up.
He was punked out by freaking Gronk. Okay, seriously.
Yeah, at the time I'm like, why is Jinder Mahal in the end of this match? And then they just did that angle.
No. Yeah.
And then Mojo Rawley won it and then went nowhere.
Much like the rest of the winners of the Dre.
Yeah, pretty much. So that is it for our Jinder Mahal categories, thankfully.
Yeah, one more to go.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next category, Worst Storyline of the Year. And no TNA pay-per-views are featured here because TNA was so far off the radar that nobody really cares about TNA. So it's good or bad depending on who you ask, I guess. Anyways.
So for the record, we don't care if you like Jinder Mahal, and we don't care if you like TNA. All right, moving on. Okay.
Yeah. Worst storyline of the year. Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's son. Jinder Mahal as WWE champion. Sister Abigail versus The Demon. Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. Jinder Mahal mocking Shinsuke Nakamura. And the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton mind games. So Greg, I know how much you hated that Bray Wyatt Randy Orton House of Horrors match, and we talked about the WrestleMania match and how that entire feud hurt Bray Wyatt. So is that your pick, or do you have another one in mind?
Here's the thing, to quote Jeff Meacham. The storyline between Bray and Orton was actually really good. I thought.
In the beginning.
I thought it was very intriguing. But the matches suck so bad that it's like it brought everything down. And that's who do you blame in that? Do you blame Orton and Wyatt, or like how does that work? No. Because I'm just so confused. Because again, that brings me back to Orton and Triple H from Mania 25. Fantastic build-up, terrible match.
Well, a lot of people hated Wyatt and Orton when Orton burned down Wyatt's house, because Randy Orton's supposed to be the baby face and he's burning down Bray Wyatt's house. So a lot of people didn't like that.
I think both feuds, Greg, you mentioned, Orton Triple H and Orton Wyatt, suffered from poor booking decisions, in that both matches at Mania were dead in execution. Because remember, Orton Triple H was supposed to be this intense, just pure hatred, and the day of, Vince goes, yeah, we can't do no holds barred, so you have to do a regular match.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Orton and
Wyatt, it made Orton look ridiculously weak.
It did.
Because Orton should have won that match.
Yeah, and Orton Wyatt this year, I guarantee neither one of them said, let's make the ring LED and put bugs under us. That was not their decision. I promise you that.
You know what? It was cool the first time they did it, but they overkilled it and doing it 3 times.
Exactly. Yep.
But anyway, back to worst storyline of the year. I'm gonna have to go with Jason Jordan, because that's been a train wreck.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, it's a tough. Believe it or not, I'm not gonna pick Jinder Mahal as WWE champion. I know that might surprise you guys. Yeah, I'm not gonna go with that. I'm torn between Jason Jordan being Kurt Angle's son and Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. I'm going back and forth. But I think I'm going to agree with you, Greg. I'm going to go with Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's son, because I think that storyline from the get-go really had no credibility. Nobody buys into Jason Jordan being Kurt Angle's son, and it's really done nothing for Jason Jordan's career. If anything, it's taken him down several steps, all the way down to the very bottom in WWE, to the point where nobody likes the guy, even though he's an awesome wrestler. Jeff, what do you think?
Jason Jordan being Kurt Angle's son has brought Kurt Angle's comeback down.
Yeah.
End of sentence.
There you go. So I think we're all going with Jason Jordan, but one could definitely argue Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And really these other ones too. I mean, Sister Abigail was terrible, and thankfully that was cut off, because of Bray Wyatt getting sick. Otherwise that
wins best comeback of the year or something.
Yeah, right. Alexa Bliss and Bayley was pretty lame. That whole storyline, I think, brought Bayley down a couple of pegs. Jinder Mahal making fun of Shinsuke Nakamura, that was pretty bad.
And in poor taste.
Yeah, but some could argue that it was edgy. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was dumb. Wasn't the worst storyline of the year, but wasn't anything particularly good. The whole feud in general, I think, did nothing for Nakamura, but that's the way it is when you're working with Jinder Mahal, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jason Jordan. I think we're all going with that, and we'll see how the fans vote for this one.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Moving on to the next category, Worst Pay-Per-View of the Year. The nominees: Fastlane, WrestleMania 33, Payback, Backlash, Money in the Bank, and Battleground. Now, for me, I think I'm torn between Backlash and Battleground. What's the common denominator there, Jeff?
They're both SmackDown shows, right?
And?
Jinder Mahal in the WWE title match.
Yes, Jinder Mahal.
So anti-Indian Canadian, it's ridiculous.
All right, so can we just change the header on NoDQ.com to the anti-gender page? Can we just do that next year?
I know, right? I hope Jinder Mahal fans don't disown me after watching these year-end award videos. But yeah, looking back, I mean, this was Jinder Mahal definitely brought down a lot of the WWE entertainment value in 2017. So Backlash had, as we mentioned in the previous category, had the infamous House of Horrors match, which Greg hated so much. And it also had, no, wait a minute. Was it Backlash? Now I'm getting confused.
No, it was Backlash because that was like right after the Superstar shakeup.
Okay, wait a minute.
So Bray Orton was on SmackDown.
When did Mahal win the title?
Backlash.
Oh, that was Backlash. Then what am I thinking of? Payback. Payback was the House of
Oh,
Horrors.
we're getting so confused now. We're getting
There was so much crap on WWE television. We're getting everything mixed up.
Backlash was in Chicago. That's where Jinder Mahal won the title.
Well, like I said, the night after a Great NXT Takeover
Chicago, Payback was
Backlash.
Yeah, Payback was San Jose because we were saying, hey, it's not dark in San Jose yet.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. Payback. So that was the House of Horrors. Payback, and that. The one thing that saved that show was Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. But yeah, that match had Bayley losing the title, and that was pretty dumb. Yeah, Backlash wasn't too good. I thought they were on the same show, the House of Horrors and Jinder Mahal winning the title. If that happened on one show, then that would be a no-brainer for the worst pay-per-view. But
Jinder interfered in the House of Horrors match, which actually was the only good thing about that match. Because it was storyline. It was like,
yeah,
the only thing that made sense.
But I think I'm going to have to go Battleground just because of the Punjabi prison match. And I think just overall that Battleground pay-per-view, other than the Usos versus the New Day, that was the best match of the show. And that was, the opening match, or might have been the kickoff match. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Battleground. Jeff?
Let me just say for the record, Aaron, I want, when this gets posted in the NoDQ.com Facebook group, I want access to the group, just like I see the people saying, the TNA people going, no TNA shows on this list, ha ha ha. And that's fine, it's true. But TNA was such a non-factor, that's why. Okay, now.
I'll have to actually watch them to determine if they're the worst.
Must have been for it to be impactful, exactly. I don't remember a lot of any of these shows, except for maybe WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is WrestleMania. I remember how I felt at the end of each of these shows. I was sad at the end of Mania because we all know what was going to happen. The Undertaker walked away, apparently.
Yeah.
After Backlash, I felt the backlash of my dinner coming up in through my throat, ready to spew out of my mouth. That's how bad Backlash was. So I'm going with Backlash.
All right.
I think I actually nominated for my pick. I think I nominated Backlash, but thinking back to Payback was a terrible show.
Yes.
But Fastlane also was god-awful. Like, I completely had blocked Fastlane out of my mind, thinking, it's like, what happened on that show? Oh, yeah, that was the show where, like, Jinder Mahal faced off against Cesaro, and Rusev got completely buried by Big Show. Bayley and Charlotte had a terrible match.
Owens lost the universe title to Goldberg in, like, 30-something seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually might have to go with Fastlane, now that I think about it.
All right, so we're all going with a different pick, but again, the fans get to make the final decision on this one. Worst pay-per-view of the year. You can do your research, if you dare. Watch those pay-per-views from start to finish and make your own judgment on which was the worst pay-per-view of the year. Or just...
For how much a month?
What was that?
For how much a month?
For $9.99.
Free trial 30 days, folks. Come on now.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next up, we have the Worst Match of the Year category. The nominees, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, WrestleMania 33, complete with the bugs on the ring. Roman Reigns versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 33. So 2 Worst Match of the Year contenders at WrestleMania. How about that? Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton, Punjabi prison match.
Be careful.
Yeah. Or Jishnu will correct me on that one again. Big Cass versus Big Show at SummerSlam. I don't even remember that match. It must have been so bad I just blocked it out of my memory. Or it was just
the one with the shark cage.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was awful. That was really bad. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, No Mercy. I was there. Probably the most disappointing match of the year, if I have to say so myself. Maybe not the worst match of the year, but certainly the most disappointing in terms of having high hopes and the match not really delivering. And then we have the men's Raw versus SmackDown elimination match from Survivor Series. So, Jeff, we'll start with you. You'll go first this time. Worst match of the year. Which match gave you the biggest headache?
Go ahead, Greg. What are you going to say?
I was going to say there is a severe omission from this list, which should win.
By all means, Greg, go for it.
3 words. House of Horrors. Where is this match?
Well, you know what? That match was just weird and goofy, but they were trying to be creative with it. I still think it was better than the WrestleMania 33 match, which was just a snooze fest, and the whole thing with the bugs and the maggots on the ring. I thought that was terrible.
WrestleMania match was better. I thought the House of Horrors was just a complete cluster. It was stupid from beginning to end. I hated it.
Well, there you go. So Greg was not a fan of that match. But Greg, other than that, I mean, the 6 matches here, what would be your pick?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just surprised the House of Horrors isn't on there at all.
You're taken aback by this whole thing.
Blocked it out of their minds completely to forget it even happened. But I guess I got to go with Orton and Wyatt from WrestleMania because, I mean, that's up there with Orton Triple H from Mania 25 as terrible WWE title matches at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that WrestleMania 33 match just really took the wind out of Bray's sails. I mean, that was the beginning of his downfall for, somebody. Where was Bray Wyatt on the worst superstar of the year, considering how far his stock fell in 2017?
Because I think they feel sorry for him. They didn't want to put him in that category.
Yeah, right. So Greg's going with Wyatt versus Orton. I think I'm going to go with... I'm sure you guys will be shocked at this. I'm going to go with Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton Punjabi Prison match. That had to be one of the worst WWE pay-per-view main events that I could recall in a very long time. And, the fans live hated it because they couldn't see anything, the whole structure of the cage. They could not see the action inside the ring. And it was just a train wreck. And, of course, Great Khali came out. So anytime the Great Khali is involved, you can't really expect much. So, Jeff, your thoughts?
Up until the week before Thanksgiving, I would have said Punjabi Prison. No question about that. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in any given year. But I kind of take this thing with the reverse of the match of the year, in that the worst match of the year, I feel, is a match that should have delivered on all points and fell completely flat. We knew going in Punjabi Prison was going to suck, because Punjabi Prison matches suck. They just do. There's historical referencing to that. The men's Survivor Series main event should have been one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time. And it wasn't.
Agreed.
It wasn't even that good. So I feel that's the worst match of the year.
Oh, well, that's a good pick. I mean, they're all good picks. None of these matches were particularly good. All right, so we'll see what the fans vote for. I think this one will be close. I really do.
We said on the Survivor Series pre-show that show on paper had the chutzpah to compete with like the 2001 Survivor Series, the Alliance versus the WWF end of the storyline, and the whole show delivered up until the event.
Yeah, the main event was the one that really fell flat. Looking back at it, Survivor Series overall was a good pay-per-view, but that match definitely dragged it down from having any potential to potentially be an A show. So we're all going with different picks. Like I said, I think this one will be very close. We'll see how the fans vote for this one.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
All right, now we get to the worst categories. The worst superstar of the year. Jeff, what's my pick?
Jinder Mahal.
Greg, what's my pick?
Jinder Mahal.
You got it, guys. Jinder Mahal. Do we even have to argue the other names on here? Roman Reigns. I feel bad for Roman Reigns. Last year he was voted the worst wrestler of the year. So this year I changed the name. It's no longer the worst wrestler of the year category. It's the worst superstar of the year, because I do not want to knock Roman Reigns' in-ring abilities, and I think people were not necessarily knocking Roman Reigns for being a bad wrestler. I think they were more unhappy with the superstar, the character of Roman Reigns. And the superstar is everything. It's the look, it's the character, it's the wrestling skills, it's all of it put together. For me...
So what virtue award then?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Jinder Mahal pretty much flopped. I think we can all admit that. Jason Jordan also flopped. Now let's go over the other names here. Besides Roman Reigns, let's cut Reigns a break this year. I mean, come on. Reigns had a great year.
Yeah, Reigns doesn't deserve to be on this list, in my opinion. I mean, we all give Reigns a bunch of crap because of how he's booked to be like basically Super Cena 2.0, but it's like, you know what? Give him a break in this category because he's not the worst booked.
Reigns needs to go back through the curtain every single night and kiss the feet of Vince, of Rollins, and of Ambrose for bringing the Shield back together. That's all I got to say. Reigns' status.
Now, the other names here, James Ellsworth. Now, James Ellsworth is bad, but that's the whole point of his character. You know, he was not designed to be, you know, a great superstar. The idea was he's a terrible superstar who's making it in WWE and is overcoming the odds of being, you know, a guy who would never really make it, somehow managed to make it and have his dream realized. So it was kind of a cool story. So nothing wrong with James Ellsworth. He was entertaining for what he was. Enzo Amore, I mean, come on now. Enzo's entertaining. I like the guy. Not a great wrestler, but an excellent promo. Yeah, there you go.
Need to stop doing that. I'll give myself a concussion.
Yeah, you're going to give yourself a seizure or something over there, my friend. And Kurt Hawkins, I mean, Kurt Hawkins is just there. He's basically enhancement talent. Now, if he wins the WWE title, then you could maybe argue him for being the worst superstar. I got to go with Jinder Mahal. Jeff, who do you go with?
Yeah, I almost narrowed it down to the three you mentioned as the three that bombed: Jinder, Jason, and Ellsworth. And
the three J's.
The three J's, there you go. All three of them should not be where they were in 2017 at all. No question about that. But I think the worst superstar of the year, when you think of where they were when the year started and where they ended when the year was over, Jason Jordan.
Good point. Very good point. Great.
Jason Jordan should have been half of one of the best tag teams we've ever seen in the last 10 years, let's say. And now he's being nothing more than a freaking joke that is attached to Kurt Angle at the freaking umbilical cord. It's like, come on, that's horrible.
I think that's more the storyline. But Greg, what do you think?
See, here's my thing with Jason Jordan. Jordan is actually a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it is overshadowed completely by the fact that they have written him so terribly.
Yep.
American Alpha was actually booked pretty terribly while they were the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, too. But I have to give this one to Ellsworth.
Ooh, we're all different.
Simply because he really served no purpose. He actually ruined the first women's Money in the Bank match based on that finish. And there really was no point to him being there other than Becky Lynch to kick his ass. Like, that's the only reason that he was there. And that was his last match in WWE, as far as the main roster goes, was Becky Lynch beating him.
Yep.
So I have to go with Ellsworth.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, Ellsworth, I definitely feel ran his course after a while. You know, I think he should have been left in 2016, but I am happy for the guy that he got to live his dream and got to have somewhat of a lengthy run in WWE. I mean, he definitely outlasted Colin Delaney after turning heel, that's for sure. So more power to him. I say more power to Ellsworth, and I don't want to give him the worst superstar of the year. I think that's just mean. I say let's give it to Jinder Mahal. But that's just me.
You mean, Aaron, damn.
Yeah, Jinder Mahal, worst superstar of the year. But again, you guys make the decision.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next category, Feud of the Year. The nominees, and this is a tough one, I just want to say right off the bat here. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, The Usos versus The New Day, Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, Okada versus Omega, Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon, and John Cena versus AJ Styles. So we have one New Japan feud in here. Of course, the two of them, Okada and Omega, had two arguably greatest matches of all time in 2017. So that is definitely a noteworthy feud. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, of course, with the Festival of Friendship. Now, the thing about Owens and Jericho, why I would personally not pick it is the feud started in 2016. So half of the feud happened, you know, setting up the big turn. A lot of that feud was developing in 2016. Usos and New Day, I think that's going to be my pick because they had awesome matches night in and night out. Often the best match. I think the best match at Battleground, the best match at SummerSlam, and then the best match at Hell in a Cell. And then the rap battle they had with Wally or Whale, whatever his name is, the rapper guy. What, Jeff?
We be white in this panel. Never mind. We're the three whitest guys in the world. Forget it. Doesn't even matter.
How do you pronounce his name?
I think it's Wale. I think.
Wale. Okay.
I think.
Well, whatever his name is, that was a really entertaining segment. All the inside references they made. I think they made a Paige Xavier Woods reference, and WWE edited that off the YouTube version also.
Yep, they did.
That feud was very entertaining, Usos and New Day. I loved it, despite the fact that I feel the New Day has gotten stale in recent months. That's like I said earlier, the Usos really stepped it up as a team and the entertainment factor. Usos really delivered. Strowman and Roman Reigns was great also. That's the feud that really put Braun Strowman on the map, so you could definitely argue that one. Owens and Shane McMahon I thought was good, but not great. They did have the big angle with Vince McMahon and Kevin Owens and Owens headbutting Vince and, of course, the Hell in a Cell match. But it seemed like that feud, I wasn't really a big fan of the matches with AJ Styles and Shane as the referee. I thought it was just okay. Cena and AJ Styles pretty much ended at the Royal Rumble, so I'm not sure I would go with that one. That one was mostly 2016. So, Greg, let's start with you. Your thoughts on Feud of the Year.
I mean, you basically said what I was going to say about Cena and AJ. I mean, that feud was mostly 2016, and they just had their match at the Rumble, and that was pretty much it for them. I was torn between two here, between the Usos and the New Day, and Strowman and Roman, just because both of those feuds were intense. They beat the living crap out of each other, and it was enjoyable. But I have to give the edge to the Usos and the New Day, just because I think their matches were better than Strowman's and Roman's. But you can't... I think the Usos and the New Day, as much as like this point may be argued, they really brought back tag team wrestling to the forefront of being, hey, this is not like a bathroom break match. Like, tag team wrestling is must-see because of this feud, my opinion. Jeff?
I kind of stole what momentum I had for the two I was going to choose between. See, I love the Usos New Day feud. I really did. I thought it really redefined tag wrestling, like you said, this year, Greg. But for me, the two feuds of the year were on completely different continents. You had Okada Omega, which, for all intents and purposes, produced the two greatest matches of all time if you're Dave Meltzer. And then you had Owens and Shane McMahon, Kevin and Shane McMahon, which was just so intense from start to finish. And I don't even have finished yet. That's the thing. So I am going to go with what I think should be the Feud of the Year pick for the NoDQ people. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I believe the Feud of the Year was Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon.
Interesting. That surprised me a little bit. I mean,
you guys know I'm not a big Kevin Owens fan as a person, but I have to show the respect that is due for a guy that literally went from having a match at WrestleMania that Vince completely crapped on to a match that really, was not supposed to be good and ended up being really, really well done against Shane McMahon in Hell in a Cell. And Kevin Owens has been one of the best guys this year. Like I said, he would have won Heel of the Year if it wasn't for Miz being there. So he's been awesome this year, to quote the Miz. But him and Shane it was really intense, all the way through, and it still is now. So I think that's Feud of the Year.
All right, well, there you have it. So we're not unanimous on this one. You guys can go ahead.
I'm the 2-1 underdog now.
Yeah, that's right. So good job, Jeff.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Heel of the Year. The nominees. We have Jinder Mahal. No, he's not a good heel. He's a very generic heel. That doesn't make him a good heel. Going out there and saying America sucks does not make you a good heel. Anybody can do that. Jeff Meacham could go out there and say America sucks and people would boo him. So no, Jinder Mahal is not a good heel.
He also, yeah.
Wait, say that again?
I said Canada sucks, got me over as a heel big time.
Yeah, I know. It's cheap heat.
Cheap heat.
Now, a lot of guys use cheap heat, but I don't know. I don't want to pick Jinder Mahal for this, so no. Next, we have Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Neville, who actually, in my opinion, is a way better heel than Jinder Mahal. Actually, all 5 of these guys I would pick above Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal would be dead last on this list, in my opinion. Kevin Owens and The Miz. And I'll go ahead and go first since I'm ranting already on Jinder Mahal. Noted Mahal. Strowman, I think because he beat up Roman Reigns, that made him more of a babyface than anything else. Samoa Joe has been a great heel, just an ass-kicking machine. Neville has been great. Neville has been doing some of the best promos in WWE in recent years. You know, the whole King of the Cruiserweights. I think he's done a tremendous job. Kevin Owens. The problem with Kevin Owens is, besides the Chris Jericho storyline, the whole Festival of Friendship, that was a great angle. Kevin Owens was an amazing heel. He actually got some real heel heat for turning heel on Jericho. But most of the time, Owens gets a babyface pop when he comes out there. The guy that really does a tremendous job as a heel and always stays true to being a heel is The Miz. The Miz is a perfect heel, in my opinion, because you want to see somebody kick his ass. He comes out there and he just runs his mouth, and he's a classic heel, a classic villain. You want to see somebody just punch that guy in the face. Miz is my pick. Greg, your thoughts?
I have to agree with you. I was between Miz and Owens, but I have to give this one to Miz because Cleveland needs to win something.
Oh.
Wow. But no, Miz has been,
Jesus.
Yeah, Miz has been solid. He's been a solid heel for years, and his Hollywood gimmick is just fantastic for him. I wasn't sure how I thought about when he first started doing it, but he has really, really come into his own as a heel. And honestly, like, I was thinking about this the other day, Miz is probably going into the Hall of Fame someday. Like, just with his accomplishments and everything he's done. It's like, it's hard to argue against that. But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
And before Jeff says his pick, why was it the line, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut? Why was that not up for catchphrase of the year? How did that not get enough nominations?
Thank you.
That gets on my nerves. But anyways, that's a great phrase when he says that. That always gets the crowd ticked off at him. So, Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to make a couple points based on what you guys said. Greg, the fact that you said that Miz is going to the Hall of Fame someday is amazing to me, but it's so true. I remember the first time I ever saw Miz. It was at UPW. Aaron, you remember UPW out here in Southern California? Yeah. Working for Bassman. It was a tag team match. I forget who his partner was, but he was in the match with DDP. DDP was one of the opponents. And it was just one of those things where, you know, he was the low man on the totem pole, but you could see the beginnings of what was going to be something really, really good down the line. WWE signed him, of course. Here he is today, 13 years later, believe it or not. He's been around that long. And Aaron, the fact that his catchphrase is so volatile with the crowd, the fact that when he says shut up, they don't. Bobby Heenan in his Hall of Fame speech said, when I said shut up, they got louder. It's like, I could do that. It might be at home. Bobby was the best heel manager we ever saw. No question about that. And Bobby knew how to get the heat by telling the people what to do. And They wouldn't do it. That's what Miz does. He wants the people to be quiet, and they get louder. That's a heel. Yep. Miz has been the most consistent heel on the main roster in many, many years. Had Owens not had the independent following and get the babyface pop when he walks out, he wins hands down because he's been a ruthless bastard all year. No question about that. But Miz, like you said, he's the perfect heel. He's this Hollywood star that doesn't want to get beat up, and he has an entourage or a mistourage, and he has the beautiful wife who he got pregnant now. He's going to have beautiful children with now. He's the guy you want to hate so bad, but when you go back home and from the show and you're sitting there, Miz really impressed me tonight. Damn it, I don't want to like the guy, but I do. So this is my pick as well.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next category, Babyface of the Year. The nominees, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, John Cena, Braun Strowman, and AJ Styles. So I'll go ahead and go second this time. Jeff, you go first. Your thoughts. Who was the best babyface of 2017 in your opinion?
Oh, Lord. Put me on the spot here.
Not a dog spot.
Not dog spot, liver spot, my spot, your spot, whoever's spot.
Reference that.
We're going to do heel next, and a guy I could put on the top of this list for babyface is on the heel category too, in Braun Strowman. That vote could go either way because he had a tremendous run as a bad guy throughout most of the year, but he's finishing off as one of the top babyfaces, so it's very hard to pick with him. I honestly think the guy that was consistently a top babyface all year on the main roster is got to be my pick, and that's going to be Finn Balor. If NXT was the mainstream show, my pick would be Johnny Gargano, because that guy is the ultimate underdog, the ultimate babyface. He's like Ricky Steamboat. He can't be bad. So, but in this case, main roster pick, I'll go with Finn Balor as the overall pick for no DQ.
All right, well, I will go second here. I'm going to go with AJ Styles. You know, he was a heel for the beginning of the year, but the fans were still cheering him, and he gets some of the best crowd reactions, and people were just beyond thrilled when he finally ended the reign of terror of Jinder Mahal. So that alone, for that, I think AJ Styles should be babyface of the year for taking the title from Jinder Mahal. But that's just my opinion. Braun Strowman also great babyface for beating up Roman Reigns. I mean, just beating up Roman Reigns by default makes you a great babyface. Johnny Gargano's been doing great as well. You know, he would be a great choice also. Seth Rollins, not so much. You know, I think WWE really botched his babyface turn. So I'm going to go with AJ. Greg, your thoughts?
I would give it to AJ, but I can't in good conscience give it to somebody who was heel for the first 3-4 months of the year. So I have to go with the person who's been consistently a babyface since he's come to the main roster. And I got to go with the original leader of the Bullet Club, Finn Balor.
All right, so there you have it. We're all going with somebody different, so we'll see how this one turns out. Make sure you cast your vote over at NoDQ.com. Wait, who did you say?
I said Balor as well, Aaron.
Oops, my bad. Okay, I'm trying to sabotage you, Jeff. Sorry. All right, Jeff also went with Finn Balor. So 2 against 1 again. Darn it, I'm outnumbered again, as usual.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Theme Song of the Year. The nominees: Glorious Domination, Bobby Roode. The Rising Sun, Shinsuke Nakamura. Phenomenal, AJ Styles. Root of All Evil, Aleister Black. I Am Stronger, Braun Strowman. And Sky's the Limit, Sasha Banks. So
I'm not doing. Well, that's all you, Greg.
All right, so last year, Glorious Domination won. I think this year, it's the same thing. To me, that is the theme song of the year. Shinsuke Nakamura, or should I say Shin, as Michael Cole would call him. Shin has a great theme also. So you could argue either one. Phenomenal, of course, is great. All these songs are great, and Aleister Black is the newcomer in this category. His song is pretty cool. But I'm gonna have to stick with last year and go with Glorious Domination. Greg, your thoughts?
I'll probably have to agree with you. As much as I enjoy the other theme songs, it's really the only one. Well, Nakamura's they sing along with too, but Glorious people just get really into the entrance with Bobby Roode, so I gotta go with that one winning again. Jeff?
2 reasons I'm going with you guys on Glorious Domination. Number one, it crossed over into mainstream this year, because if you watch the Stanley Cup Finals, when Nashville was having their playoff run, they used Bobby Roode's theme song throughout the course of their game. So, that was huge in and of itself. Number 2, it made for the greatest pre-show entrance in No DQ history, as Aaron was parked in his car out front of my house, and in comes the West Coast Professor himself to Glorious Domination. So there you go.
Yeah, that theme song is just amazing, and it's really helped Bobby Roode's career.
This is what it is. It gets you. You almost have to sit there and go like this when it's playing, just to get into the spirit of it.
Absolutely. All right, so we're all going with Bobby Roode unanimously.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next up, we have Headline of the Year. The nominees: Kurt Angle returns to WWE. The Hardy Boys return to WWE. Roman Reigns possibly ending The Undertaker's career. Jinder Mahal winning the WWE title. No. Definitely no. The Shield reunites. And Chris Jericho announced for New Japan Pro Wrestling match against Kenny Omega.
But before you go into your spiel, do you not understand that every time you negatively react to Mahal, it fuels the votes, and he's going to get every freaking vote in this awards show now?
I was going to have to shoot that 3 times.
We're going to reshoot this thing 3 different times now. Oh, God. Awful. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Well, Greg, let's start with you. Your prediction for this one. Headline of the year. What do you think was the biggest story of the year?
Well, I'm not going with the evil Maharaja either. I'm probably going to have to go with Angle returning because he's been gone for 11 years, and honestly, it was a big deal for him to come back to accept the Hall of Fame nomination, for him to be the general manager of Raw, and for him to come back in the ring at TLC, which that match was not fantastic, but for what it was enjoyable. Not the best match on that show because that was Balor AJ. But Angle returning would be my headline of the year.
All right, Jeffrey?
If it maintained the consistency of the year, it would be Angle because it was a huge story, and the fact that Kurt Angle returned after all this time was amazing. But I think we all, at the back of our minds, expected it to happen. At the end of the day, Kurt Angle was always going to come back, and he was going to make his return. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when for Kurt Angle to return to WWE at some point and get his big send-off like he's had over the course of this year, probably in the next year as well. What nobody expected to happen, what nobody foresaw in their crystal ball of 2017, is an announcement of a match we thought we'd never see. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega for Wrestle Kingdom. That's my headline of the year. That's going to be something truly special next year. So my pick for that is headline of the year for Jericho Omega being announced for next year.
Well, Jericho Omega was a pretty big one. Now, as a person who runs a website and I get the website traffic, I think the biggest headline in terms of traffic, it had to be something at WrestleMania because WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year. The story that really drove traffic the most, Roman Reigns and Undertaker, the next night on Raw, Roman Reigns coming out there and getting booed out of the building, that was huge. That was a big deal. But I think the Hardy Boys, the whole story of them having the falling out, think about the whole story with the Hardy Boys and Anthem. That in itself was a huge news story. The whole legal battle over the Anthem and Hardys going back and forth over the broken gimmick. And then that led up to the Hardys appearing at WrestleMania. There was news earlier in the day about it. It boosted all the speculation about WrestleMania. And then sure enough, when they came out there, the crowd just went completely nuts. So I'm going to go with the Hardy Boys returning to WWE for the overall impact and all the different headlines that their return produced. Not just them returning to WWE, but also all the behind-the-scenes drama with Anthem. It's got to be Hardy Boys returning to WWE. In my professional opinion, as a guy running a website, I got to say that was the headline of the year. So
we're all different, and I like that. That's good.
Yeah, we're all different. So what do you guys think? Make sure you vote.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Comeback of the Year. We have our 6 nominees. For Comeback of the Year, Paige, who just returned a few weeks ago. We also have Kurt Angle making his big in-ring return to WWE and also going into the Hall of Fame. We have the Hardy Boys making their big comeback at WrestleMania. 70,000 people chanting Delete and Brother Nero. We have Jinder Mahal winning the WWE title, becoming the modern-day Maharaja or whatever. We have Jinder. I already said Jinder. I've got him on the brain now. I'm saying him twice. Drew McIntyre, who was at one time part of 3MB, of course, with Jinder Mahal. Drew McIntyre coming back to WWE in the NXT brand, winning the NXT World title. And Finn Balor coming back from an injury after winning the Universal title and then missing WrestleMania, coming back right after WrestleMania. So this one's a really tough one for me. Actually, now that I think about it, it's not that tough. I think I got to go with Kurt Angle, going into the Hall of Fame, becoming general manager, and then making his in-ring comeback. Hardy Boys, they had a great return at WrestleMania. However, they kind of fizzled out as the year went on. So I got to go with Kurt Angle for consistency. Jeff, let's start with you. Your thoughts.
In any other year that didn't feature Kurt Angle coming back, I would say based on pop, but compared to ratio of people, I would say Paige, only because everybody in that place went through the roof when she walked out on that stage. However, 2017 and Kurt Angle came back, so I got to go with the Olympic gold medalist for sure. Greg?
See, I wouldn't go with Paige just because of the fact that it just happened, and we don't know, how this entire faction is going to play out with her and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, because it just happened. Right. When you were talking about pop, I thought you were going to go with Balor, honestly, because Balor still gets a huge reaction on his entrance, and we're just going to upset Virtue some more if we talk about Balor. So I don't mind. He's from Cleveland. People from Pittsburgh like to piss off people from Cleveland all the time. So I'm just going to go with Finn Balor just to make it match.
That's why it's Angle. Got it. Okay, there we go. Makes
interesting.
Sense
now.
Well,
Jeff,
I could go with my fellow Clarion alum, Kurt Angle, too. So
who are you going with? Final choice.
Balor.
All right, so he's going with Balor. And by the way, Jeff, when you said pop, I was thinking you were going to say David Payne.
What?
Seriously, you said pop.
You know what? I will give David the comeback for no DQ because nobody thought you'd see him again. So there you go.
Yeah, he actually did make a comeback in 2017 after being gone for a few months. That is very true. But anyways, so Greg's going with Mr. Not Over, Finn Balor. And
right.
Jeff and I are going with Kurt Angle. So there you go.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Faction of the Year. The nominees: The Bullet Club, Sanity, The Shield, The New Day, The Undisputed Era, and The Miztourage. So, Greg, let's start with you. We have 6 great factions here. Which one was Faction of the Year in your opinion?
A couple of those, especially the Shield, the Miztourage, and the Undisputed Era, weren't really together long enough for me to consider them Faction of the Year. I know we could go with the Bullet Club because that'd be easy because they've been over for a couple years now. But as controversial as this pick may be, I got to go with the New Day. Just because they've been tag champs a couple times this year. Their in-ring work has been, I think, possibly the best it's been since the group's been together. And they still entertain me on the mic. So I'm going with the New Day.
All right, Jeff Meacham.
My turn. Okay. I'm going to piss off the entire No DQ galaxy because they don't seem to like this guy very much. I'm going to go with the Miztourage.
Ooh, interesting choice. That is a very interesting choice. Why Miztourage?
Okay. The old school guy in me wants to see the Bullet Club because they, like Greg said, they've been the most over the last 2 or 3 years as a faction, but they're not. The No DQ viewers are not going to vote for them because they don't watch, a lot of the New Japan Ring of Honor stuff. They just don't. They watch WWE. Sanity, I think they are a little bit too gimmicky to really pose a serious contention for vote. In my opinion, the Shield just got back together. Undisputed Era just really started coming to their own in NXT the last couple months. The Miztourage, while they were semi-recent, they have enabled the Miz to really come into his own this year, more so than he had previously as being a Intercontinental U.S. champion. He's really, kind of got back into the mainstream. Not mainstream, got right back in the limelight this year because of Axel and Dallas being there as his muscle, I think.
Yeah, part of me wanted to go with Sanity, actually, because they've had a great year in NXT, but it is also NXT. It's not like it's the main roster or anything like that. I almost want to go with the Bullet Club because the Bullet Club has really been a dominant faction, not just in Japan, but the United States as well. So they've been a truly international faction, and they even got under Vince's skin when they showed up outside the arena in San Bernardino, or not San Bernardino, where was it? Ontario, that's it, Ontario a couple months ago. And that led to Jimmy Jacobs losing his job with WWE as a writer because he took that picture with the Bullet Club. So I seem to remember that, and I think the Bullet Club just made a big impact. You know, they had the T-shirts at Hot Topic that have been the best-selling T-shirts for Hot Topic. I mean, they've really made a name for themselves despite not being involved with WWE. So I'm actually going to give it to New Japan for this one. I'm going to go with the Bullet Club as my pick for Faction of the Year. So we're all going with something different this time.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next up, we have Catchphrase of the Year. The nominees, you just made the list, Chris Jericho.
You know what happens when you say it like that, Aaron? You know what happens when you just do it blasé and not really caring?
What happens?
You just made the list!
This is the house that AJ Styles built. AJ Styles.
All right, hang on. This is the house that AJ Styles built!
By the way, you're hanging to the left.
I know, I can't help it when I'm doing stupid catchphrases.
That's not a catchphrase, by the way.
Well, it should be.
Yeah, maybe it should be.
It should be.
Next, I'm not finished with you, Braun Strowman.
Well, see, I'm gonna do this one good because I look like a fat guy anyways. Hang on. I'm not finished with you.
Adam Cole, baby.
I can't do this one.
No, let me do this one.
Okay, all right.
Adam Cole, baby.
I like that. There we go. I like that.
Okay. Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. The Usos.
You like this more than I do, Aaron. Go for it.
Wait, what?
You do this one.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah, your turn, Aaron.
I don't even know how it goes.
I don't either. We failed.
All right, this one's mine, I guess.
All right, Greg, you got it.
Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary.
There we go. I like that. Good job.
This is what happens when we have a bunch of white guys trying to do this.
Catchphrases in general. I know, right? That's terrible.
All right, and the last one. Now, this is what people nominated. How'd you know what it was?
Because it's right here in front of me.
Oh. Okay, go ahead, say it.
Too sweet. Although I did the Kevin Nash version, not the Young Bucks version, so you know.
And it's not too sweet, it's one sweet now.
It's one sweet now, but for the most of the year it was two sweet, so.
All right, so let's go with the picks here. Jeff, why don't you start?
Oh, Lord. I don't like this category at all, for the record. I think it's stupid. And I think every year you make me do the catchphrase is even stupider. But that's okay. More stupid. Whatever I'm trying to say in proper English, which is not happening right now. I will go, because it's so controversial, I will say too sweet.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm going with I'm not finished with you, Braun Strowman, because that got a huge pop when he said it to Roman Reigns when he came out of the ambulance and kept going after Reigns. You know, that was great stuff, and that catchphrase really got over. I got to go with Strowman. Greg.
I think my wife and I disagree because she wants the house that AJ Styles built. I think I'm going to, and I just got hit with a pillow. I'm going to have to agree with you, Aaron, and say I'm not finished with you, because that really helped Braun Strowman's push and really gave him a catchphrase to go off of before he flipped Roman Reigns over in the ambulance.
I personally think Strowman's best phrase of the year was a one-off. He said to Paul Heyman, "You talk too much." That was good. That was a good one.
Well, that gave Matthew from Botchamania some material.
Yeah, he used it for his one intro.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. All right. Well, Braun Strowman is my pick. You know, he's just having a great year in general. So, yeah, let's go with Strowman. But Jeff's going with Too Sweet because he's still stuck in 1997.
96.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
All right. Breakout Superstar of the Year. The nominees: Braun Strowman, Jinder Mahal, Pete Dunne, The Velveteen Dream, Alexa Bliss, and Aleister Black. Now, I think I'll go first on this one. It's Jinder Mahal. No, kidding. Did you fall for it?
You're fighting your own show. Go away.
I just wanted to see how you guys would react to that. No, it is definitely not Jinder Mahal. Hell to the no. No Jinder Mahal. I think it has to be Braun Strowman because as much as I like Pete Dunne, like I said in the previous category, there was really no follow-up after Chicago. You know, he had a great match, but there was really no follow-up after that. And he's still been doing the UK matches doing the title defenses, but he really hasn't been. I mean, his match was with Johnny Gargano wasn't even shown on the NXT pay-per-view, so the UK title hasn't even been a priority. So I'm not going to go with Pete Dunne, even though he had a fantastic match with Tyler Bate, as we mentioned in that previous category. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman because on a main event level, Strowman has really stepped it up in 2017. Him and Roman Reigns, that feud really took Strowman to the next level, and Strowman has had an incredible 2017 and has just been a complete monster and the biggest star, literally the biggest star WWE has had in a long time. So, Greg, let's start with you, your pick for this.
You know, once you threw Alexa Bliss in that mix, I had to think about it. It's like, ooh, maybe. And also, if Jinder Mahal wins Breakout Star of the Year, Kyle has to shave his head. I have to agree with you, Aaron. I have to go with Braun Strowman as well. I mean, just because we looked at him last year when he first started, and it was like, okay, it's just going to be another big guy. But I don't know if it's the way he's booked or the way he's presented or what it is, but Braun Strowman has become awesome. Absolutely awesome. And he's delivering. They're not making him into a comedian like trying to make him cut goofy promos. They're making him the serious, I'm going to kick your ass babyface now. And it's working for him. It's working brilliantly. So I have to go with Strowman, even though Alexa Bliss probably would give him a run for his money. Jeff?
Let me say, for the record, as the former heel trivia champion, that if Jinder Mahal had debuted this year and done what he did, he would be Breakout Star of the Year because he won the championship. But the fact of the matter is, we had to deal with Jinder Mahal being the weak link of 3MB, transitioning to be WWE champion, which was like, no. So there's that. Nobody had a bigger year than Braun Strowman, literally and physically, and figuratively. Braun Strowman had the best year of his career ever, and if Alexa Bliss had not been a decently marquee name prior to this year, she may win, but Braun Strowman had his year this year. He was not supposed to be anything more than the heavy of the Wyatt family, and now look where he is. He ended Survivor Series laying out Triple H. Not often that happens with anybody, let alone a breakout star like Braun Strowman. And there he was, standing over top the COO. That's huge. And it ended a hell of a year for a guy that wasn't supposed to do much except be Bray Wyatt's muscle. So there you go. Braun Strowman wins hands down.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Moving on here to pay-per-view of the year. The nominees: Wrestle Kingdom 11, New Japan Pro Wrestling, of course. WrestleMania 33, which I'm going to say right now, no. Great Balls of Fire, SummerSlam, NXT TakeOver War Games, and Survivor Series. So interesting to note that the NXT TakeOver Chicago did not make this list. Jeff, do you think that this is a little bit controversial? I mean, what's your pick here?
Exactly what you just said. TakeOver Chicago was the pay-per-view of the year for me. This pay-per-view, literally 5 matches, but each of these it's one of those things, like I said in the previous video about match of the year. Each of these matches had a great story to it, had a great flow to every part of the match, and the ending of the pay-per-view, oh my goodness. We still haven't found out what's going to happen yet based on that because Gargano's been Ciampa's been out. But the Chicago NXT show, top to bottom, just floored me. When you consider the fact that the night after was one of the worst shows of the year, it says how much the NXT crew puts into their shows. Because Chicago was the best show of the year for me, no question about it. Survivor Series was really good. TakeOver War Games was really, really good. But I think the best show of the year was TakeOver Chicago, and I'm going to stick with it.
Well, you have to pick one of these 6 options.
You said I didn't have. You suck.
I double-crossed you. Montreal. No.
I think Russo swerved you.
All right. No.
No DQ screw job.
No DQ screw job.
Damn. I feel like that happened already.
I will say. Let me check something real quick.
Greg, you want to go ahead and make your pick while Jeff's thinking?
Lost here.
Thinking. Yeah.
I was hoping you did.
I think Yeah, I think that of the 6 shows, to me, it's a no contest of the ones that are nominated. I enjoyed Great Balls of Fire quite greatly.
Yeah.
Goodness
I thought
gracious.
that was I thought that was the show of the year. I mean, we all went into it as like this is the worst pay-per-view name in the history of mankind, and then you watch the show, it's like, holy crap, this is awesome. And the Raw brand shows weren't that great up to that point, but something just clicked on every level for that show, and it was a very, very solid show. I still think that's the pay-per-view of the year of the ones nominated.
I think the Raw shows haven't really gone out of that point now. I think the Raw shows have declined since Great Balls of Fire, personally.
I agree on that. You know, I agree with Greg. I'm actually going to go with Greg's pick. I think Great Balls of Fire. We were all making fun of it for the name, and then it turned out to be a surprisingly great show. And they're not bringing it back next year, which is surprising. Maybe just because it's a dumb name, but despite the name of the pay-per-view, it really delivered, in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna stick unanimous. That way, I don't have to make a controversial pick because I made my pick and I'm wrong. I'm not allowed to apparently. So, Great Balls of Fire is one of those where, like you said, guys, we weren't really expecting it to be anything really good because the name was just so hokey, but it delivered top to bottom. So
you're going with Great Balls of Fire of the 6 picks.
I guess
Above Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, to be fair, I haven't watched all Wrestle Kingdom, but
somebody's not doing their homework here.
Nah, because the main event of Wrestle Kingdom was the best match of New Japan's year. Up until Omega 2, but I think the card going in was better looking for Wrestle Kingdom. But the thing is, Great Balls of Fire was not supposed to be good, and it was great. Wrestle Kingdom's always good, and it was still a typical wrestling. It was good. It just wasn't supposed to be anything special. It was supposed to be just a typical Wrestle Kingdom show, which it was. Great Balls of Fire was supposed to be pretty cruddy, and it turned out even better than we thought. So that's how I measure it. The fact is, it wasn't supposed to be good, and it delivered. I go with that.
All right, so we'll just go with Great Balls of Fire just for the hell of it. So there you go. Okay. Great Balls of Fire, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodness gracious.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Match of the Year. Best match of 2017. The nominees: AJ Styles versus John Cena at the Royal Rumble, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate at NXT TakeOver Chicago, Okada versus Omega 2 from New Japan's Dominion, the Usos versus the New Day from Hell in a Cell, War Games from NXT TakeOver War Games, of course, what else could it be, and AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar from Survivor Series. Now, I'll go ahead and start on this one. This was probably the toughest category for me to make a pick on because I think all these matches are great in their own way, and it's really hard to pick one that stands out above the rest. Now, Omega versus Okada 2, that match got more nominations than the first one. They both got a lot of nominations, and the second one was also higher rated than the first one. The first one was the infamous 6-star Dave Meltzer match. The second one actually got even a higher rating, a 6.25.
Which is ridiculous.
So according to Dave Meltzer, this is the greatest wrestling match of all time. Now, I watched it. I actually watched it today so I could have a fair opinion.
Good.
I did watch the first match earlier this year. I did watch the second one today, and I think it was a great match. I think both of them are incredible athletes going out there for 60 minutes. It's extremely tough. Not many people can do that. Hats off to those guys. Now, with that being said, I think there is such a thing as too much. I think the match was overkill in terms of doing the same moves over and over again, the drop kicks, the V-trigger, the tombstone, and the commentary. I listened to it with the English commentary, and my own personal opinion, I find Kevin Kelly to be a bit annoying. You know, he's out there doing the tombstone like it's soccer or something. I just found it to be annoying. And I just think they did too much, and there's just too many parts of the match where they're so exhausted and they're not going for pins. I had a lot of issues with the match, despite it athletically being extremely sound and well-paced. I did have some issues with it. So that's my little rant on the New Japan match. The first 30 minutes, I thought it was amazing, and I was like thinking to myself, maybe I'm going to pick this one over the WWE matches. But after the last 20 minutes or so, I'm like, it was getting a little annoying for me towards the end. So I might get some hate mail from the New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, but that's my opinion on it. I don't think it's the greatest match of all time. Was it the best match of the year? Maybe. I mean, I'm really torn between that match and my personal favorite match of this year. This might surprise you guys, both of you and perhaps the viewers as well. I'm going to go with the Usos versus the New Day from Hell in a Cell because I was thoroughly entertained with that match. Not just the quality of the match. They did some innovative stuff during the match, different things from previous Hell in a Cell matches, but also I liked the storyline, and it was a series of matches. Those guys were tearing it up on a series of pay-per-views, and then you actually had the Hell in a Cell match conclude the feud once and for all, and I thought it was very satisfying. So I'm going with Usos and New Day, but all these matches are great. All of them are wonderful contenders. So Jeff, you want to start, or Greg? Who wants to go first here?
Greg, I go next.
All right. I was between two as well, and the Usos and the New Day was one of them, but it's not going to be my pick. As much as I enjoyed that entire feud and that final match was incredible.
What's the dog's opinion?
I don't know.
I have to go with Pete Dunne against Tyler Bate from NXT TakeOver because that match, top to bottom, start to finish, was just incredible storytelling. I mean, much like the Usos and New Day was, but that match was just incredibly enjoyable. For somebody who didn't actually get to watch the UK tournament special, I actually wasn't familiar with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate to begin with, so I went in with an open mind, and they blew my mind. I mean, that's the way it is. It was a fantastic match on really a great card, that NXT TakeOver special, but I have to go with Dunne versus Bate. Jeff?
It's been my opinion, I've been watching this over 27 years now, that a match of the year, the best match of any given year, should be a match that if you take it out of the context of what it is and put it on any time in the course of history, it should be a great match. That's why any of the Steamboat Flair matches from '89, if you put it by itself, is a match of the year. That's why they all got 5 stars from Mr. Meltzer. I think the match this year that you can take out of context of any other thing they've done all year and put it by itself as a match of the year, as a match by itself, had the best commentary call of the year, had the best in-ring work of the year, and very little storyline to it, which is what I loved about it. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, NXT TakeOver Chicago. I sat in my old co-host Mikey's place and the jaw was on the floor from beginning to end. That match spoke to the old school fan in me like, God darn it, that was good. Like, I've been saying all year, if any match passes that this year, it's going to take something extraordinary. Hell in a Cell between this and today was very, very good, but it wasn't better than Dunne Bate from Chicago.
Well, Jeff, that's a very valid argument there. Jim Ross definitely added to that match, no doubt. Yeah. And that's what I say about announcing. Announcing is really important, and that's what actually brought the New Japan Pro Wrestling match down a little bit for me was the announcing. I know there's Japanese announcing and English announcing, but JR...
Well, it's funny because I actually watched both versions. I watched Okada and Omega with Japanese and American commentary. I had a hard time Japanese because I don't understand the language, obviously. Yeah. But it's like you said, at the last half of the match kind of got a little muddled. Yeah. So I think if it had been the first 30 minutes and ended right there, match of the year. But because it didn't, it suffered.
Yeah, and as much as I love Dunne and Bate, I think it's outstanding and it's pretty much flawless. The only thing is, after that, we really didn't see much of Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate. I like to look at the future, and if those matches that are considered the all-time greats, normally they lead to something bigger, and we still haven't seen much of Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate since then. I think if both of them had debuted on the main roster by now, maybe I'd have a different feeling about it. Other than that, pretty much a perfect match. Unlike you, Jeff, I would have liked a little bit more storyline, but the fact that they could have such a great match without a storyline, really goes to show how incredible those guys are as performers. So it's a close one for me. I mean, I think Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate would definitely be my second pick on here, and then maybe the New Japan match would be number 3. But we'll see what the fans vote for. This is going to be a really interesting category to see which one. I don't think there's any clear-cut winner here. I think they're all great in their own way, and this could be a very close race.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next up, we have Announcer of the Year. The nominees: Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo, Greg Hamilton, Nigel McGuinness, Renee Young, and Tom Phillips. So, Greg, we'll start with you this time. Your thoughts on these 6 contenders?
Well, time to upset virtue, isn't it? You know, and I'm not just saying this because I was trained by him. I'm not just saying it because he's a Pittsburgh guy. But I think Corey Graves has been absolutely solid on commentary. I know some people don't like him. But you know what? His style reminds me of like a cross between Bobby Heenan and I'm trying to think of another. It's kind of like Bobby Heenan and Jerry Lawler, but a little more like little more towards the brain than the King's like cheesy humor. I don't know. I just like Graves' style. I think he would be an excellent commentator alongside Mauro Ranallo, which it's a shame that pairing didn't happen more often. But I got to go with Graves. As much as I enjoy the Mamma Mia of Mauro Ranallo, I gotta go with my fellow.
Well, let me go second here, since I haven't really gotten the chance to go second in any of these yet. I think Corey is good, but I don't think he's the best announcer in WWE. I still have some issues with Corey Graves. Nigel's done really well, but he hasn't really been tested on the main roster. Renee Young does a great job, whatever she's doing, whether it's the backstage announcing or something else, whatever she's doing with WWE. Tom Phillips, to me, is just bland. Not even sure why he's on here, but...
And why is Greg Hamilton? He's a ring announcer, not a commentary.
Well, it's announcer, so announcer includes any kind of broadcasting, whether you're calling a match play-by-play or you're doing the backstage interviews or you're doing the ring announcing. It's any kind of, broadcasting, broadcast journalist. Go ahead, Greg. You wanted to say something?
I just did the one fall thing for Greg Hamilton.
I was going to say, poor Greg Hamilton's getting so much heat.
Yeah, but anyways, my pick is Mauro Ranallo. I think he's just fantastic, and he should be on the main roster doing shows. They got him in NXT, which is fine, but I think he should be doing the big shows. You know, he's a world-class announcer, in my opinion, and he's the best one, in my opinion. Jeff, your thoughts?
Mauro Ranallo is definitely the best play-by-play guy they've had come up since JR stepped away. No question about that. But Corey Graves is everything that WWE wanted Jesse Ventura to be, and Bobby Heenan ended up being. He's a great, like you said, he's a great mix, Greg. But I think Corey goes more toward the Jesse side, where he still blatantly favors the heels, but recognizes the greatness of a baby face, like John Cena, when it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Corey's everything they wanted JBL to be without all the bullying. So, there you go. So I'm going with Greg. I'm going with Corey Graves on this one. Corey Graves is honestly the best overall commentary guy they have, period. He's a great analyst, but he can also play it fair on either side of the coin when he needs to, much like Jesse did back in the 80s. So my pick is Corey Graves, and I stand with my coast-to-coast brother.
All right, well, I respectfully disagree with both of you. I think Corey's a little bit overrated personally. I don't think he's quite at the level of Bobby Heenan or Jesse Ventura, but time will tell. Maybe he'll get better over time. I'm not completely sold on him, though. I think he's good, but not great. My pick is still Ranallo, but I'm outnumbered, 2-1, so we'll see what the fans go with, and that'll do it for this part.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next, we have Finisher of the Year. The nominees: AJ Styles' Styles Clash, Brock Lesnar's F5, Braun Strowman's Running Power Slam, Baron Corbin's End of Days. I think I know what Greg might vote for, but we'll see what he thinks in a moment here. Aleister Black's Black Mass, and Kenny Omega's One-Winged Angel. So, Jeff, as you fix your glasses there, or wipe them, whatever you were doing, your thoughts on Finisher of the Year. Best finisher of 2017, in your opinion?
Well, I also went back and read the results from previous years. I mean, it's a lot to read because I don't know why I'm talking in gibberish. It's a lot to read because you guys do this for many years there. I've been with you for every one of them, it feels like. Kenny best finisher should be a finisher that wins a lot of matches. That's what I would think it would be. But at the same time, a finisher can also be the prettiest move on television or on live in person, which is why the Canadian Destroyer won so many times.
Yeah.
Because Petey didn't win matches probably friggin' ever, but it was a beautiful move to see. So there you go. Based on what I've observed over the last 12 months, and based on the look of the move, and based on the record overall, even though he didn't win the championship that he wanted to win, I got to go with Kenny Omega, the One-Winged Angel, because that is just a beautiful maneuver, and it did win him the New Japan US Championship, I believe. I haven't seen the match, but I'm pretty sure he won with that. And that move is just a sight to behold. So I'm gonna go against the grain here, against the WWE fan vote that I know NoDQ is gonna pick, and I'm gonna say Kenny Omega, the One-Winged Angel. Greg?
And the unanimous decisions end.
That's it.
Yeah, I figured this was going to be the category to do it if it was any of them. And you guys know how big of a Baron Corbin supporter I am. So this one, as opposed to Sasha Banks earlier, I have to stick with this one because,
I knew it.
And I say this, nobody, since he's been doing the move, has kicked out at the end of days. But, I mean, it's up there with Orton's punt kick, that nobody's kicked out of that either. So, it's an impressive move. It's a good-looking move, too. I like the One-Winged Angel, but to me, it reminds me too much of the Michinoku Driver, personally.
Right.
Well, I am going to go with something different from both of you. I am going to go with an oldie but a goodie, and I don't think this is going to win, but it's been ending matches, and that's Brock Lesnar's F5. When Brock hits that, it's normally the end of the match. I mean, he beat AJ Styles at Survivor Series with it. He's beaten pretty much everybody this year with that move. It's a tremendous finisher. It's one of the best in my opinion, and that's what I'm going for. I think this one just comes down to personal preference for a lot of people, but I tend to agree with Jeff. I think a good contender for finisher of the year should be a move that actually finishes matches, not just being a signature move, but actually a match or a finisher that ends matches.
I think a finishing move should be one that finishes and also one that looks artistically and aesthetically pleasing. The Stone Cold Stunner, it ended matches, but it's kind of ugly. But it worked. The One-Winged Angel, when it is hit effectively, will end the match. It didn't work on Okada. So there you go.
And Greg has a good point. Baron Corbin's finisher definitely looks cool, and people are staying down for the count.
Well, it's both of the moves that we've picked, Greg and I, it's almost like, you wouldn't see that either one of those come out of nowhere. The one Omega has to set up for the Angel. He has to get the guy up there, and then Michinoku, he has to do that. And end of days, it can come out of nowhere, kind of, sort of, but you almost see it coming anyway,
I was going to say, if you watch, I think, Baron Corbin faced Chad Gable back in NXT, and that was a simply beautiful one. If you can go find him facing Gable back in NXT, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. It's like I said, the finisher should be artistically and aesthetically pleasing and finish the matches, and End of Days definitely fits that bill.
Absolutely. Now, we all came up with our own opinions here, all valid, but my guess is because he's AJ Styles will get the votes from the fans, most likely.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anything's possible. We'll see what happens.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Next up, we have Tag Team of the Year, the 6 nominees, or should I say 12 nominees. We have the Usos, the Young Bucks, the Bar, the Authors of Pain, the New Day, and the Hardy Boys. So we're all over the place here. We have WWE, we have New Japan / Ring of Honor, we have NXT. Since you guys went first in the first two categories, I will go ahead and give the pick first. I have to go with the Usos because I think the Usos have been on fire this year. The guys have been having awesome matches. They've been cutting great promos. They turned heel, and ever since they turned heel, they've been nailing it. They've been extremely entertaining, and at the end of the day, I watch WWE to be entertained, and I think those guys are extremely entertaining. I think that they've really broken out of the pack and have had a main event caliber year in the tag team division. So I'm going with the Usos. Now, Young Bucks have been doing great on the indies. They've definitely made a huge impact. Too sweet.
Not too sweet. One sweet, Greg. Be careful. Get sued.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot they changed it like last month.
Yeah,
I know
one
that.
sweet. And we'll get to that later with the catchphrase of the year. But yeah, Young Bucks have been doing great. The Bar, they have really done very well. You know, when Sheamus and Cesaro first became a tag team, people were like, but the two of them have really gone all the way with this team, and I'm very impressed with how they've performed in 2017. Authors of Pain have been dominating in NXT. They've been doing great. New Day, I mean, I feel the act has gone stale, but they've still been a major force. They had some great matches with the Usos and Hardy Boys, you know. They started off red hot, but some could argue that over the course of the year, they kind of cooled off a bit, not doing the broken gimmicks. So I'm not sure if they'll get the vote this year.
Well, plus got hurt, so, you know.
Yeah, so Jeff, your thoughts, what your pick for this?
First of all, I think, honestly, the people are going to either not vote for the New Day or the Hardys the most because they've had the quietest of the 2017s, the two of them together, those two teams. So I think they're going to get the lowest votes total. God, I really want to pick the Bucks just to buck the system, so to speak. I really want to pick Matt and Nick because they're my boys. But I got to agree with you, boss. The Usos have had the best year. The Usos have really shown the world, and me in particular, that they don't have to be, you know, Rikishi's boys or the Wild Samoans 2017. They can go out there and do their own thing. This day one-ish stuff has been phenomenal, to quote AJ Styles. It's really turned them around. It really shows me that they can be a dominant tag team without being tied, so to speak, to the Samoan heritage. They are Jimmy and Jey Uso. They're not Rikishi's sons. They're not Offensika's, you know, nephews or whatever. They're not those guys. They are the Usos, the best tag team in WWE. And, you know, unless if you focus on WWE, the best tag team on the planet. You know, are the Bucks a better team overall? Probably. But the Usos had a better and more defining year than the Bucks did. Greg?
You know, so much for not being unanimous because I gotta go with the Usos as well. I mean, it's hard to argue you guys' points. You know, I almost actually went with the New Day just because of the series of matches that they had with the Usos. But you know, you guys said it. The Usos had a more dominant year. This is. I mean, their heel run ever since they turned on American Alpha last year, they have just been spectacular. And I see them continuing to go up from here. I mean, what team on SmackDown is going to touch the Usos right now? I mean, honestly, I don't know because there really isn't a team to touch the Usos right now. So That's my pick.
You know, it's as far as the Bar goes, I get it. Those one of those guys where I could have picked the Bar too, because Sheamus and Cesaro, like you said, Aaron, they were not supposed to do anything. They were a throw together by Mick Foley to give them throw them a bone here. You guys had a great 7-match series, but we don't do with you guys, so we'll pair you up. And they have had an incredible year too. So the tag team vote, I think, is going to be the closest vote of the year. I really think that.
All right. So again, we're all going with the Usos, but you guys ultimately will decide. So go ahead and vote over on NoDQ.com.
The 2017 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards.
Moving on here to Female Superstar of the Year, the nominees: Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Natalya. So Greg, how about we start with you this time? 6 very worthy contenders, but only one can be the Female Superstar of the Year. Your thoughts?
You know, this is another close category, especially with all the names listed. And everybody who's watched a NoDQ.com show knows how much I'm a big fan of Sasha Banks. However, I have to be unbiased, and Sasha is not my pick this year. In fact, I think I have to go with arguably the person who has had the best 2017 out of anybody, and that's Alexa Bliss. I know Asuka's been undefeated, and she's still undefeated, and she was champion for 500 plus days, but I think Alexa Bliss has made an impact and has made 2017 hers to take. I mean, that's just my opinion. Jeff, what do you think?
It's funny you say Alexa, Greg, because as we were going over the pre-show notes here and thinking about who I was going to say, I was really leaning heavily toward saying Alexa Bliss. And if this was a universe, if you will, where there was no NXT, I would say Alexa would get the vote hands down. She's had the best year of the females on the main roster. But at the end of the day, a lot of WWE fans, especially in 2017, are NXT fans as well. And they are going to be visiting NoDQ.com and voting for these awards. And I think they're going to go with their girl, the girl that has turned the world on fire for the last 18 months or so. And that's going to be Asuka. I think she's going to get the vote. My personal pick would be Alexa Bliss, but I'm trying to kind of go with what I think the tone of the vote's going to be, and I think it's going to go toward Asuka. So that's my pick, is Asuka's going to win this thing. Aaron, what do you think?
Okay, so basically you are picking Asuka, but your personal pick is Alexa Bliss. That's what you're
basically
saying. All right, well, technically we're going to say you're picking Alexa Bliss as your personal favorite. I'm asking for in your opinion, who's the female superstar of the year, not what you think the people are going to vote for.
Okay, well, in my personal opinion, Alexa Bliss has had the better year than Asuka overall, but, I know the way I've been doing this for 15 years with you guys. I know how these fans are.
I mean, I think it could be very close between the two of them. Maybe Charlotte, it'll be a three-way. I'm not sure. I think it'll be down to Alexa Bliss and Asuka. But, yeah, I think because Alexa Bliss really broke out of the pack and became the top star on Monday Night Raw in the women's division, she's cutting the best promos, and she just has the overall best personality, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss as well. So it's another unanimous decision here.
You say she broke out because the other girls in this category have all had really strong times atop the roster in either Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Alexa Bliss never really had that in NXT. She kind of snuck into the draft there at the last minute and then just took off like a rocket on both shows.
Absolutely. I mean, as you would say, she's cooking with gas the last couple months.
She has been since she came up to SmackDown in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we're all going unanimously, I guess, with Alexa Bliss then for Female Superstar of the Year. So there you go. Who will win it? You guys will decide.